What am I? Bill Wild, of course.
How many years in the service?
35 years.
What was your retirement rank?
Warrant officer.
Very good. When did you join?
January or August 1943.
And the war was already going.
The war was already on.
Were you a boy soldier?
I forgot about that. I was a boy soldier, yeah. I joined when I was 15, I think. Got $1.60 a day when I joined up anyway.
$1.60 a day.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, I think it was 60 cents a day. Big money in those days.
Probably 60 cents. So where did you serve?
In the reserve?
No, in the reg force.
Oh, in the regular force, I spent 9 years in RCF Station Dartmouth in the Marine section, and from there I traveled all over Newfoundland, Iceland, and that's about it.
What did you do during the war?
We carried supplies to squadrons in Iceland and all over Newfoundland and Labrador.
What was your trade?
My trade
Yeah.
was seaman.
But you were in the Air Force.
That's right. I was a seaman in the Air Force. And I want to tell you, I sailed with nothing but a bunch of Dutchmen from Lunenburg who were great sailors. They were born on boats. That's why I learned all my seamanship, knot tying and all that from those people.
What was the first ship you served on?
Was the Eskimo. And the Eskimo...
But hold on. It wasn't just the Eskimo. It wasn't HMCS Eskimo. It was...
Just Eskimo.
RCAF.
Just Eskimo.
Because the Air Force owned ships.
Yeah, absolutely. Seagoing ships. They were all wooden ships.
And how did you get on the ship?
Well, I'll tell you, one time I was in Dartmouth, and the Eskimo was on the shipyards being put in a forecastle deck on her. And I was sent over there to guard it. And I saw the skipper aboard, and I said, "Sir, could I come aboard your vessel?" He said, "You ever been to sea before?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Can you steer?" "Yes, sir." And he said, "Okay, you're a member of the crew." Little did he know I had never steered a ship before in my life. And I was called, we were out on sea trials, and I was called up to the wheel. I didn't know what I was going to do. And this chap, who was a great apple grower in the valley at that time, was in the Marine section. He said, just put the lubber line on whatever they tell you. And that's how I learned to steer. I said, everybody else told me that the lubber line, steering a ship, the compass moved the opposite way from the wheel. And that's what got me. I said, oh my God, what am I going to do now? And the guy just told me put the lubber line on whatever course they give you. And one time, going into St. John, Newfoundland, we were in the fog, thick of fog, and I let her slip. I was quite a ways off the course, and the skipper said to me, he said, "Wild, how do you expect me to get this ship in that harbor if you're going to steer like that?" So I put her back on course, for sure. And you know, every time we came to a dock, my old mate from the same section was a guy by the name of Gadir, a Frenchman. And he used to come to the wheelhouse and take over. This day he came to the wheelhouse and the skipper waved him off. Wild is going to bring her in. And that's how that happened. So I spent over a year on that ship and enjoyed every minute of it, honestly.
So what happened after that?
Well, the skipper didn't think much of me for that. The skipper called me in one day and said, "Bill, I want you to treat me the same as you would treat your father at home." Well, You know, in those days I didn't talk much. Who could? But anyway, when I came to time, I said, Skipper, I want to go ashore. He said, I want to tell you, you're getting no bouquet of roses thrown at you if you ever come back here again. And I knew at that time I was going to make a career of the Air Force. And I wanted to go ashore to get more experience on the shore part of it. But anyway, after the war, I saw my skipper in the bleachers watching me playing ball. I heard, you know, he was a big man, a big Dutchman. And naturally, when they didn't need the big ships anymore, he got out. But from then on, it was only Flight Sergeant WO2s that took the big ships out. Honestly. I don't understand that, but it's the way the Marine section worked. I'm finished.
Now, what happened after you finished the war?
Oh, well, after the war, I stayed right in the Air Force, of course, at RCF Station Dartmouth, and there we ran duty boats back and forth, and I was also on a Malahat, was the name of another ship we used to carry supplies with, and that's pretty well it until the Navy took over and RCAF Dartmouth became HMCS. What was the name of it? No, HMCS.
I couldn't tell you. Okay. So then what happened to your career? I went
from there to Gimli, Manitoba. Undersea rescue business for any airplanes crashed in the lake. And from Gimli, I went to,
Holberg.
Yeah, I went to Holberg. And this was a family moving around with me, but I always didn't want to take the kids out of school in the middle of the year. So I went and stayed in barracks until the end of the year until the kids could join me. From Holberg, back out again to that we, in 1966, I think, we were told we were no longer needed from Ottawa. Everybody was just thrown out of the service, and the group captain in charge of Trenton at that time fought it. And I was a civvy, I got out. I said, well, I'm going looking for a job. I got out, and they offered me a promotion and $1,000 a month to join up again. And I said, well, I'm going. And I said, I'm going to take Gimli, Manitoba again. So that's the second time I was in Gimli. And I think Gimli was the best base I was ever on. We had a great CO, and then in Gimli closed the base. So there I was again with nowhere to go. So they asked me where I wanted to go. I said, well, if they'll have me, I'll take Halifax. But then they came through and said, no, they got a job for you in Comox. So I came out to Comox, and the NCO in charge in Comox was just retiring, and I took his job. For once, I had a whole section to myself. And the chap that I replaced, who was not liked by the guys, I was missing one civilian I needed on the crew. So I phoned Bohosic and asked him if he wanted a job, and he took it. If you remember, Bohosic's brother or something was wound up in a big murder mystery or something in Windsor, Ontario. It's the same Bohosic. And the guys were all mad at me for hiring Bohosic. So, I don't know. The next thing I knew, the Navy took over. And the Navy started, what should I say, knowing more than anybody else about the operation that than all the people I had with me. The people I had with me were all of my engineers and seamen were all I served with during the war. And when I seen what kind of action this Navy guy was operating, I said, I'm going. At one time, the major told me, when I was, before the Navy come, he said, Bill, I don't know what you're supposed to be doing. Just let me know if you need any help. That was a big boost in my morale, I'll tell you that. And when the Navy took over, it was a sad situation. All the civvy guys quit because they had lots of time in. And right now, the Navy has two new boats that we had the blueprints for in my office. And the Navy got these two new boats, and I've never heard from them since. I don't know what the hell they're doing down there. That's okay. Is that enough?